So I would say I am someone who is quite prone to getting burnt out. Like, if there's not a good balance of alone time mixed in with my social time, I am quite prone to becoming irritable, burnt out, bit of a bitch. Like I I just need my alone time. Okay, I struggle with being too busy or feeling like I'm spread too thin. And this is the thing that we all struggle with. However, I think some of us have a bit of a higher tolerance to burnout, maybe, or maybe it takes more for them to get burnt out. For me, it takes about a week. Okay, it takes about a week. And it doesn't even have to be like I'm busy with shit that I don't want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm working too much. I can be doing loads of stuff that I love, but if I'm still doing too much of it and I'm not having enough time to myself, I'll be burnt out. I don't know if anyone else relates to this, but like, for example, last week, I I lay out my week in a way where I obviously have work and things to do, but I always have a day or so to myself. I make sure that I like carve in time to not plan to do anything because I know myself and I know that's something that I need in order to enjoy anything. It's necessary for me. And last week I had like no alone time, no free time. I was doing nice things. You know, I went away with a friend, I went camping, I was obviously working too. I did some podcast stuff. I was with my boyfriend. Like I was having a nice week. But it was just a lot fucking going on. And this is what I mean by it does not take much before I don't feel like myself. I feel burnt out. I feel like I need to hibernate and be alone. And, you know, this is why I make sure that I keep shit balanced. If I know I've got a social week, I'll actively maybe keep my weekend free, vice versa. You know oneself, know your boundaries, know your limits, know what you're going to enjoy. And this is something that I've really grown to understand in myself. I'm like, I know that I will not want to do anything on Thursday if on Wednesday I'm out doing shit all day. Do you know what I mean? Know oneself. And I felt incredibly burnt out. Okay, after this, I was like, oh my God, I need to reset. I need to reset. And this got me thinking about how my general week to week, for me, it's a Monday. It's going to depend on your schedule for you, obviously. Most people, it would probably be a Sunday, I would imagine, but I work weekends quite a lot. So for me, it's a Monday where I kind of keep this day free. I keep this as my general kind of reset day as a kind of rule. So on my average week to week, I don't then have to deal with this burnout. Does this make sense? I've made sure that I have this standard day a week where I'm spending time alone. I'm like filling my energy levels back up. I'm looking after myself. You know, on a Monday, I'll go to a yoga class and I'll usually like sort my room out, have a bath, have an everything shower. I'm going to get into this because this is the theme of the episode. Um, but that is my day where it prevents me from feeling burnt out. It prevents me from getting irritable and feeling too spread thin or like things are piling up. I think as well in life, there's a lot of things that it's all about just keeping on top of little things, right? Life is quite overwhelming. There's a lot of little things to keep on top of. And, you know, even just things like making sure that your car is clean. If you don't do that fairly regularly, your car's gonna get a fucking mess. And like where you live, your space, your house, your like everything, I feel like little and often stops it from getting to an unmanageable level, you know? And for me, a reset day it's a preventative measure, okay? Like, not only does it keep me sane because I have this time by myself, but it also gives me a chance to make sure that I'm like little and often just keeping up on top of like the little things here and there that I need to do that otherwise I would probably not do. I would probably put it off and then that would become another thing that's fucking stressing me out, right? So today we're talking about the perfect reset day, okay? I think this is so important. And again, everyone's going to be different. For you, maybe you don't want a specific day a week, you know, and maybe you have some sort of system that works better for you, like you do like an hour an evening or something where you like sort stuff out. And, you know, I do that too. Like, I keep on top of things like keeping my space clean and stuff throughout the week. But I personally find it helpful. And I know a lot of people do because I see it everywhere on social media to have a reset day. And there's like the Sunday reset is a thing where people actively have almost this like tick list of things that they do. I think it's so beneficial. And I'm someone who I fucking love to be organized. Like, I love to plan a tick list and a to-do list. Like, I fucking love stuff like that. So this is very up my alley. Might not be for you, but if you're someone who loves a little reset, and I know a lot of girls do, because we all do the everything shower and the everything bath, and we like to keep on top of stuff like that. And I think it's nice to just feel like you have your ducks in a row, you know? So today, I wanted to talk about the perfect Sunday reset, or the perfect whatever the fuck day reset you want to do for me that I have found. Or maybe there's some tips that you're like, oh, I could borrow that, but the rest of it, not so much for me, you know. Pick and choose what's useful to you. Giving yourself a chance to decompress from the week you've had. Maybe it's setting up for the next week. Maybe it's checking in with how you feel, just having a little breather, because life moves pretty fast. And if you don't have little check-in moments with yourself, time, like a year can fucking go by. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very helpful to have little moments where you're just like, I'm going to actually slow down and like check in a little bit, you know? So that's another benefit of it. It slows things down a little bit, keeps you kind of on the same page as yourself, if that makes sense. So yeah, a tip from me about having a reset day would be to try and keep it the same day of the week every single week and be fairly consistent with that, because and I think it becomes relaxing by association. You know, it becomes habit. It's not so hard to kind of slide into the I'm resetting, I'm spending time by myself, I'm getting on with shit that I want to do. Maybe you're just spending some alone time doing some nice things, whatever the fuck yours is. It becomes like immediate that you shift into that mindset on that day. Whereas if you're changing that day all the time, I think it's hard to really get into it because there's no kind of habit. You know, as people, like we love a habit, we love a routine, we're creatures of habit, like we just are, we're wired that way. So I think the more that you can make something become habitual, the easier and more kind of seamless it's going to be. So for me, a tip would be pick a day that works for you and try and keep it on that same day as much as you can. Because like I said, mine is Monday. Now every single Monday, I like immediately just feel relaxed. I don't know. I just feel like, oh, this is the best day of my week. Love a Monday. It doesn't take any sort of brain power or discipline to do any of this shit on a Monday because it's what I do on a Monday. So I'm now in a habit of doing it, you know? And another tip before we get into like what I find to be a perfect reset would be work from the outside in. Okay, and what I mean by that is focusing first on your space and like exterior things, then moving towards your body, and then moving towards your mind and the mental side of things, if that makes sense. For example, cleaning your space and your house, and then maybe going towards the everything shower and the bath, and then soothing kind of mental mindfulness. Because I find your mind takes the longest to kind of decompress. You know, it takes a minute, I think, for your mind to kind of get into that kind of state where it's primed to be all like soothed and relaxed. Whereas like everything exterior, you can just do whatever mood you're in. And I think things like cleaning and organizing and sorting your shit out is kind of soothing to the brain and therapeutic. And I think if you do that for a while, it's naturally going to kind of calm you down a bit and like get you a little bit more in the zone to then be moving on to the more like mindful side of things. Whereas if you come straight home from work and you're like, right, now I'm gonna like meditate, I just think like it's too sudden. I think going from the outside in as the evening goes on is the best way to kind of actually feel like it's doing anything. I don't know, personally for me, I could not do it the other way around, and I also couldn't relax and feel mindful and present and calm and do all of the like journaling shit and stuff like that if my like house is a mess and my car is a mess and stuff like that. Like I can't really rest until I've done that. I don't know about you. I just think outside in, keep it as like kind of a rule. Again, I don't know you, but for me that works wonders. I think the order is very important. Okay, so let's get into the kind of things specifically that I do on a reset day that they just work. You know, they just feel nice. It just works, okay? And one of them is immediately after you get home from work, what I do is I immediately get into comfy clothes. I do this whether it's a reset day or not, but get the fuck out of whatever you've been wearing all day and put on something so comfy. Okay, this is like the first thing I do. I think, again, a lot of it is just signaling to your mind that this is a relaxing thing. I don't understand people who come home from work and like just sit in their uniform or their suit or their dress or whatever the fuck you wear. I didn't understand it in school when people were still in their school uniform at like 6 o'clock. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? That's the first thing I do. Okay, I don't know if you're the same, but tip from me, your brain can't really relax or transition into your evening if you're sat in your work clothes. So put on something comfy, set a tone. That's the first thing I do. Okay, so once that's done, like I said, I work from the outside in. So the first thing that I will be doing is sorting out my space. I love talking about shit like this. Oh my god, I love reset days. This is such a fun, fun episode for me because I just love this shit. Like, I really hope that I'm finding my niche of audience that also find this like so exciting because I can imagine some people are like, this is not fucking interesting, but I know there is an audience out there that fucking loves this shit because it's all over my feed. So there must be an audience for it, okay? And I hope that they found this. But anyway, okay. So like I said, I go from the outside in. So first thing that's happening is I'll be cleaning my space. So obviously throughout the week, you're also probably going to be blitzing cleaning like here and there, like a little clean of your kitchen or a little clean of your room, or maybe you're like taking some rubbish out of your car, blah, blah, blah. But this is like a little bit more than that. Like I would maybe set a timer for like an hour or so. I don't know. It depends how big your space is. Set a timer, I think, is helpful if you're someone who gets distracted, which is me. Or another tip for me is I will put something on my phone, like a podcast or a show or something, like prop up my phone, or like, I was gonna say, or use your laptop, but I think the reason that I use my phone is so that I can't fucking go on my phone and I get shit done. So I will put on like a podcast, put my phone somewhere so that I can kind of see it, but I'm not really watching it. It's just kind of there. And I will clean a little bit more deep. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking more like changing your sheets, doing a wash, hanging clothes up, hoovering or vacuuming or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Not just taking things off the floor and like wiping the surface down. I'm like, go a little bit deeper because otherwise, again, this shit builds up. And I think this is so relaxing. Again, like, am I insane for that? I don't know, but there is something very therapeutic about cleaning. Then immediately, you've got a clean space. And I think, what the fuck is the phrase about like, what the fuck is it? Something about like, you have a clear space, you have a clear mind. I don't fucking know. But like, then now when you're going into like everything else, you've got a really nice, organized, clean space, and you're just gonna feel better. Do you know what I mean? Like, get the long part of this out of the way, and that is probably cleaning because it's just a lengthy process. It's just the more annoying side of it, I guess. Even though I find cleaning kind of fun, it is faff. Do you know what I mean? Does anyone who isn't British know what faff means? Please let me know, because I'm conscious that not everyone that watches this is in the UK, and like faff probably is like very British. It's definitely not a word. But yeah, you just want a calming space so that you can kind of sink into your evening without the stress of loads of things in front of you that you need to do that are just like bugging you. Okay, now for me, the next thing that I will do is move on to my body. I will have an everything shower, or again, a bath. It depends what kind of mood I'm in. But again, this is not just your average shower where you're just washing and like washing your hair a bit and like blah, blah, blah. This is like I'll go a little bit above and beyond. This is basically the theme of a whole reset evening, is a time where you just go a little bit above and beyond and make your life a little bit easier. So instead of just your average shower that you'd have every day, this is, you're shaving your legs, you're doing body scrub, you're doing a hair mask, maybe you're purple shampooing if you're blonde like me, or you're doing a face mask. Maybe your skincare routine is normally the exact same every morning and evening like mine. Mine is very fucking basic. I love skincare, I find it so fun, but I do not want a 16-step skincare routine personally. Again, faff. I don't want to fucking do that. And I don't know, I'm of the belief that like your skin doesn't actually need all of that. Maybe that's just mine, I don't know. I've always been fairly blessed with pretty clear skin, which is like, I'm aware, a fucking blessing. But for me, I just like cleanse and moisturize. And then I have like a little vitamin C serum and like an eye cream and shit like that, but like it's not like a load of different chemicals because I just don't know what they do. And I just think like, I'm not an expert on skincare, however I just think like the human body is designed to kind of, it doesn't need a ton of shit on it. I don't know. ask someone that knows because that is not me. But for me, I have a pretty basic skincare routine, and on an everything shower or a reset, I would do a little bit more. Maybe I'd do a face mask, or I'd exfoliate, or I'd just do some things that maybe I haven't bothered doing throughout the week, you know? Feels nice. It feels like a little bit of a pamper, you know? You feel like your legs are all smooth and you're all shiny and you feel like a little slippery seal. And then you've got like a face mask on and your hair's all done, and it's just, it feels great. Like, there's nothing better than that feeling. I think a lot of girls will know exactly the feeling that I'm talking about. There is just something about that I fear men will never understand. Obviously, men can like have a shower, but like there's something about doing all of those things that you're just like, oh my God, I feel that's probably my happiest state ever. When I get out of an everything shower and I put on like a clean, like big baggy t-shirt and some shorts or something and some fluffy socks, and I feel all clean and like that, there's probably nothing better than that in the world. That is just where I peak, I think. That, and then having like something really nice for dinner and not having work the next day, that's probably my happiest state in the fucking world. Pour a glass of wine, maybe have some pasta and sit and watch like a show or a podcast that I love. That is my happiest state. If you were ever wondering, that is my happiest state. And yeah, for me, I will also, personally, I blow dry my hair. I don't air dry it because I just don't feel like it feels as clean, even though it literally is. It's not like any less hygienic, I don't think. But I feel so clean and fresh when I've blow dried my hair. So like I always do. And like my hair's in healthy condition, so I guess it's fine. And then a lot of the time I will then curl it and put it in a bun or a ponytail, because then the curls hold for the next day. A lot of the time I do that if I have like work in the morning, because then I don't have to bother doing my hair in the morning. And it's just like, if there's something I can do the night before that's going to make my life easier the next day, a lot of the time I like to do that. I don't do it with everything. I'm not like that fucking on top of it. But with my hair, for some reason I'm pretty on it, because I think it makes such a difference to my mood when I like what my hair looks like. I don't know. Like when I feel put together and I'm like, I feel like I don't look like shit right now and like my hair looks pretty. Everything's okay if I feel like my hair looks pretty. Do you know what I mean? It just makes every day feel a little bit better from the beginning, when I'm like, okay, at least my hair looks pretty. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so you've done the exterior, you've done your space, whatever that may be for you. You've done your body. Next, I would be looking to set the vibes, okay? This is light the candles. I would maybe put on my oil diffuser, put a few essential oils, make a little mix, put that on. You know, maybe I'm honestly a big fan of like some like little jazzy music or something, some nice background jazz, or like I like Ella Fitzgerald or like Nat King Cole, Fascination vibes. I love that genre. Feels so Christmassy and feels so, it's nothing to do with Christmas, but it just makes my soul happy listening to jazz sometimes. And the times that I'm most inclined to do that for some reason are when it's Christmas, which makes sense, or moments like these where I just want to set the vibes and feel cozy and everything's clean, and I want to like make everything feel a little bit romantic, a little bit romanticized. Because if you've watched this podcast before, you will know that I am a big fan of taking mundane shit and making it feel like really romantic by just being like delusional. And I just think that's how you make life fun. So put on some jazz while you're cooking dinner or something. Like, you will feel like you're in a movie. Life's short, why not? You know, maybe you'd make a little cocktail, a little mocktail, whatever, something like cute to drink. I personally am a wine fan, more so than a cocktail fan, but whatever, set the vibes. You know, maybe dim the lighting, put on like the little lamps and the low lighting instead of the overhead. That is big for this. Just make it feel cozy as fuck. Fairy lights are a vibe. I personally love this stage in the evening if it starts to rain. Okay, that's like, that takes it to another level. Obviously I can't control that though, but sometimes it happens. And last night, this is kind of why I'm talking about this, last night was my reset. Yesterday was Monday and it had been dry all day, but at this point in the evening it started to rain, and I had my window open and I could hear the rain on the conservatory on the glass roof, and I was just like the planet just is really understanding the vibes that I want right now, and it makes it so much better. But obviously I live in the UK, like it fucking rains quite a lot here. Don't know where you live. But that for me, you could listen to rain sounds, I guess, or like if you have a fireplace, you could light the fire, but it's also summer, so like you get what I mean. Set the fucking vibes, okay? Okay, and at this stage, I would probably cook dinner. Maybe you want to get a takeaway for a little treat. Do whatever you want. But I would probably cook something for dinner while I've got the vibes. I feel all clean. I'm in my big t-shirt. Cook some dinner. Make some nice food. Treat yourself. Maybe you want to listen to a podcast while you cook. Just make a little bit more effort than you would on the average day. You know, normally maybe you rush something. You just shove something in the oven. Like maybe you just like put on something nice that you wouldn't normally, slow it down a bit, make something that you want. Because don't forget that like a reset, yes, it's to keep on top of your shit and like make sure that, you know, your house and your room and your car and all these things are getting topped up and like you're not letting that build up. But it's also to slow the fuck down because like I said, life goes so fast. We're all busy. We all have responsibilities and jobs and friends and relationships and all these things. And like, I feel like half, like 50%, if not 60% of the purpose for me of a reset is to slow down and have a day where I don't feel like I'm needed anywhere. Nothing is needed of me. No one needs to see me. I don't have anything I'm doing tonight. I just have a evening. Just, oh my God, the lighting? Are you joking? You know, nothing is needed from me. No one needs to see me. No one needs to talk to me. I am completely free and open and I can do whatever I want this evening. And it gives you a chance to actually just kind of come off the fucking like hamster wheel for a minute and just do something that you enjoy and slow the fuck down. It is so important because again, like I said, burnout, this is how you get burnt out if you don't slow the fucking pace down sometimes and actually be present and do what you want. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to do a whole episode soon. I've decided on burnout and getting out of like a rut and getting out of a burnout phase. Other than a reset, because this is also huge, but this is like I said, preventative. Like if you have a reset day, for me, having that every week prevents me from getting burnt out. However, I still sometimes get burnt out. But yeah, I'm gonna do a whole episode on that. But just remember, the point of this is to enjoy it and have a nice evening doing what you fucking love and have a nice time and go to sleep happy and relaxed and calm. That is kind of that's more important than if you've done your fucking dishes. Do you know what I mean? Yes, you're keeping on top of the tangible jobs and chores and things that you have to do, but you know, the priority for me really is to feel calm and happy. Okay, so put on a show that you want, have a glass of wine, do something that, treat yourself to what you actually want to do this evening. Okay, you're not needed anywhere. No one needs to talk to you. You can put your phone on do not disturb. I'm sure people can wait an evening. Like, just go at your own pace and pump the fucking brakes. Okay, so once I've had dinner, generally I like to plan, okay? I like to sit in bed or sit outside in the garden maybe, and I like to just plan out my week a little bit, organize, because again, I think when you have things kind of hovering over you, that personally, if I haven't like organized my week or I haven't done this and that, like it will just bug me. And I also love to organize. So I will sit down and lay out my week a bit, put in like when I'm working in my phone, I use just the iPhone calendar, put in my social things, put in maybe when I'm going to yoga, when I want to go on a run, when I want to keep an evening to myself, when I want to see people. I will lay that out so that I know what I'm doing, where I'm needed. I just think it's necessary to have some sort of plan, and I just can't really fully wind down mentally until I've done this. Maybe this is different for you. Everyone has a different system, but for me, I like to sit down in the evening and go through my calendar and just sort my shit out. And you know, maybe I'd go on Pinterest and I'd pin a few recipes or dinners that I want to make fairly soon, you know, think about when I could make them, blah blah blah. Like I'll just kind of like faff, oh my god, faff, word of the day, around on my phone, on my calendar, and just sorting my shit out so I feel a little bit more like mentally prepared of like what's this week gonna be for me. Okay, and once I've organized my time, I've gone on Pinterest a bit, sorted out my calendar, put in seeing my friends a bit, blah blah blah. I will now start to wind down doing more of the mindful side of things, you know, because you've kind of primed your mental state to actually fucking chill out now. You've like, you can't relax really until you've kind of got shit out of the way. And I think now that you have, and you feel all clean and you've eaten your dinner and you're all happy, I feel like now you're more primed to actually look after your mind. And now, again, this is going to be different for everyone, but I personally like to do things like I will journal maybe a bit, or I will do some breathing, or maybe some guided meditation, or sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, just listen to ASMR for 20 minutes. There is something about that that just so good for the nervous system. Okay, I think that's honestly, in a nutshell, what is so beneficial about this reset evening is it will regulates the nervous system, it calms you back down. And for me, ASMR is like amazing for my nervous system. Some people fucking hate it. I love it. Certain ones I love. There's some that would never watch, but there's some genres that I love. Okay, guilty pleasure, maybe pleasure, probably. But yeah, whatever it is that calms your nervous system down, maybe it's a bit of yoga, maybe it's a little just a stretching, maybe you just want to stretch for 5 minutes, maybe you want to go on like a little walk around the block. Maybe you just want to sit in your garden and just like look at the sky. Sometimes I do that if like there's stars or like the moon is out. I'll just sit and like look and like breathe and just put my feet on the grass and just fucking come into my body slightly and just chill the fuck out. Like even like doing that for like 4 minutes, you will feel different. Like there's something about it. Like this is the time when I would try and kind of calm my mind in some way, shape, or form. There's so many options here. Maybe it's reading. I love reading. Um, Reading, or maybe it's coloring. Coloring's also really relaxing. Maybe it's doing a puzzle. Maybe it's some sort of. I've seen a lot of people online do like gaming, but it's not. It's like Animal Crossing type shit. Do you know what I mean? Like cozy gaming where people just they have these games that's just like you in a little town and you making a little house and you like walking around the market and just shit like that where they're like, this is just so good for my brain. I'm like, that I could see myself loving that if I had like all the setup. Like some people have all the setup. I do not. But whatever it is for you that you're like, this just makes me feel all cozy and tingly and happy. Like whatever that is for you, just do that. And maybe veer away from scrolling on social media from now, if not the entire fucking reset day, because that is just undoing everything that you're doing. Like scrolling on your phone is okay, like here and there. Like we're all just gonna fucking do it. Like it's just the world we're in. We're all gonna do it. However, like I think when you're actively trying to look after yourself and have a little break from being needed and doing things and using your brain and being busy and blah blah blah, I just think it's like the least useful and productive way to use your time. I just think it's gonna be putting your brain in and out back into that state of like I'm seeing things and I'm overstimulated and blah, blah, blah. Like we're trying to not do that for a night. Do you know what I mean? Just a night a week of not doing that is like we can do that. Do you know what I mean? It's just one night a week. Like let's not. Again, probably fucking done it sometimes, but like let's try not to. But yeah, and I think once you've kind of done something relaxing for your mind, sleeping at a good time now is huge because then you're actually going to wake up in your best state. You're going to be so happy and relaxed. I've done episodes before on sleep hygiene, sleep schedules, how to sort your sleep schedule out, evening routines. I've got episodes on all of these types of things, which is great because I'm getting to that point now where I have enough episodes that I've done one about that and I've done one about that. If you want them, like, I'm loving that I'm like covering all my bases as I go. Soon I'm going to be like, I've talked about absolutely everything ever. I'm kidding, there's always something to talk about. But yeah, I think the perfect remedy to a busy life, a busy week, which we all have, is a little reset evening. Go to bed early. You're just gonna wake up and feel like you've been at a spa all night. Like I guarantee, I think I've said this before in my evening routine episodes, I think, where I was saying you could have 8 hours of sleep. And if your evening wasn't like relaxed, like you just crashed and slept for 8 hours, you're still going to wake up tired. Whereas when you have an evening like this and you sleep a lot as well, you just wake up and you feel like you've just, like I said, you feel like you've been at a spa for like the weekend. Like you will just feel so rejuvenated. I thought I just saw like a crow in the corner of my eye. I'm losing it. Yeah, you will feel like just a new person. You feel so energized and excited. And also like this is good for your social battery too, which I'm saying like I need this for many reasons, but one of them is I just need a night where I'm just like not social. I love how I'm saying a night. Majority of my nights I'm not social, but anyway. I think resting and charging up your batteries and filling up your cup and just looking after yourself, it then correlates to you kind of wake up and you feel a little bit more inclined to, I'm like, yay, now I fancy seeing my friends and I fancy seeing my boyfriend and talking to my family because I'm like, you look after yourself and you feel like then you've got kind of more to give. Do you know what I mean? I feel like when I feel a bit burnt out or like I've been too busy, I just am less inclined to want to see people because I'm like, I don't have it in me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas having this, like, it just kind of keeps me at a nice level. It levels me out. So I'm like, I look after myself and then I have a week of normal stuff and then I look after myself and I have a normal week and I kind of stay at a nice level. Whereas without that, I think I would be like, meh, 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 because I would just be getting burnt out and stressed and too busy. And then I would go completely the opposite way to try and get rid of that burnout. I would try and have like a week of doing fuck all, and then I'd have a week that's really busy, and like this just keeps you in a nice little happy place most of the time. Like I said, I still get burnt out and shit, but like it kind of keep that to a minimum, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of my little guide, my little perfect reset day. Things that really help me, that charge my batteries, make me feel good, keep me on top of shit that I want to do, and have, you know, spend some nice time with yourself, because that's so important. Again, if you've listened to this podcast ever, you'll know I'm very pro spend time by yourself, work on your relationship with yourself, blah, blah, blah. And this is like a really nice way to do it. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that there was maybe something in this that you might want to take and try. And yeah, I am going to go and meet my friend. And I hope you have a lovely week. And remember, these are on Spotify. All of them, the audio is on Spotify. I will link it all in the description. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week.